Hello, horror addicts. I'm Kristen Battistella, aka Kbatz. And for those of you who are interested in some more sewing items that we've talked about, I decided to do a little quick video here about a unusual sort of product. Oh, this sounds terrible. Stop. It is actually the day before or the day before Thanksgiving. And you probably won't see this until after Christmas because these are Christmas gifts that I've been sewing. Um, but I did want to share some of the process because these are actually memorial pillows and a memorial quilt that I have actually made. And we have talked about different Victorian Memento Mori, how people kept locks of hair and wore different materials from the deceased, and how some of that can weird us out a little bit. Some of that was a little too much. Um, but yet there are definitely certain ways to honor the dead, and 2020 especially has been a very strange time, of course, as we all know. And this was actually for a distant relative who was a big Eagles fan, as you will see. Um, I wasn't sure I had enough thread to match this kind of Kelly kind of Eagles kind of green because this is not my color. Passed away in March, and actually Mom to be's grandfather. And when she came to stay in August before the baby was born, um, she gave me this bag and said, "Can you make something out of this stuff?" And she said, "I don't know, maybe a couple pillows, blanket, I don't know." And I didn't even look at it because I was all into all the Halloween projects, and I was making Halloween pillows, which I kind of at the time maybe I thought, geez, was I being rude that I was making the Halloween pillows instead of making the memorial pillows that Mom to be asked me to make? And when I finally got into the bag, I found some of these sweatshirts, which I immediately thought would be cute pillows just because they're soft and easy. And you can kind of see one part here where I did kind of still have the rim of the sweatshirt. And this was a t-shirt, but the way the little phrasing was going, I thought that this would just make a nice little lumbar pillow. And this, as you could see, took forever to sew the bottom, to sew it closed, because I wanted to preserve, if you can see, this, I left the pocket of the sweatshirt on it. So I was going through like 4 different layers, and it was very thick, and my hands were getting sweaty, and it was hot, and then I was cold, and so that took a little bit to finish that bottom, but I thought it was kind of nice to preserve, because here you're not hiding, as opposed to my little Halloween pillow right here, you're not necessarily hiding what it was. You are doing a memory, so you want to remember that this was a sweatshirt. So that did take a little while to get that closed. Making the pillows was, I guess, the easy part. This was actually a hooded sweatshirt, so I cut off the hood, and in the future, I think, since it was our new baby's great-grandfather, I think it might be cute to maybe make some kind of sort of play kind of poncho, hooded cape kind of thing. This also had sleeves on it that actually had a really cool kind of eagle's ribbon design down the side of the sleeves. And so, like this little purple pillow, I cut off the long sleeves and I made little baby sweatpants out of the sleeves. I did the same thing with these sort of eagle's little sleeves. So again, that's a little something from great grandpa for baby. Okay, so somewhere in here is the eagle's pants, and not everything is even wrapped in here, so there's really no way I'm gonna find them. Mom to be, of course, had baby. Obviously, she was here for August, and then she'll be here for Christmas. So all this needs to get wrapped and ready. So I've been tossing things in here and accumulating baby things. And the sweatpants are among them somewhere, I think. It was an easy decision to not get all the fuzzies off of the pillows. It was an easy decision to make these 3 pillows. And there is one more shirt that I haven't used yet. It's a button-down plaid shirt, and I saw some designs, different patterns for cutting out like a little A-line little girl dress out of a man's shirt. So in the future, I think I'm going to attempt to do that as well. So pillows, as we know, obviously I can do. That's my forte. But this was actually a quilt. Yes. Better show and better explain my little t-shirt quilt here. I am not a quilter. Sorry, folks. I don't understand why you would take perfectly good big fabric and cut it up into tiny little triangles and then sew it back together again. That's not my style. I'm in all of people who can do that, but that's too much angles and geometry and math for me. That's a Kbatz no. So this was t-shirts, obviously. I was glad that 6 worked out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So I had to cut out the squares as big as they could be on their designs, and then attempt to make sure they were all relatively the same size. I did debate showing this process, filming it as I went along sewing, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I didn't film any of it. The neat thing about these being t-shirts, though, is that while some of them were very big and I had enough room to play with the designs, even the ones that were maybe a little smaller, I could fudge a little, and sort of they stretched to go a little further where they needed to be. So that worked out. I was amazed that this process actually went as fast and as well as it did. I didn't have any major unpicking, seam ripping, redo kind of errors. And I did make a couple basting passes first, and then a machine based, and then my proper stitch. Machine based, I sort of treated like a stay stitch, where okay, I had my line of this was where I did want this fabric to stretch. But there are places that I am not pleased. I did the top stitch of this binding here by machine stitch first on the top, and then I did another under stitch by hand, because I knew there was no way I was going to get everything through the machine. You know, 2 shirt sides plus the batting plus the both sides of the binding. I knew I was not going to be able to catch everything on one nice straight seam. I knew I would probably have to do a lot of unpicking. There would be a lot of crooked, a lot of things that didn't mismatch. So it took me a couple days to do that by hand. And I think it came out really well for my first time doing quilting. That's not even that complicated. But I do see mistakes. I know that it's not going to matter because it'll just be so sentimental. And it is actually, I thought it would be kind of small, but it is actually quite a full length, nice blanket, actually, that feels quite warm. Again, I got kind of hot by my little fireplace, sitting here with it as I was binding all the edges. I don't necessarily love my corners. They are semi-mitered. Some corners look better than others do, and that would bother me. And while all my corners match each other in regards to the t-shirt squares, I had regular black, but I thought I may as well. I had sort of apparel kind of black, which I didn't know if that would be a nice backer. But I thought, well, I have the backs of the t-shirts that I may as well use. And their corners kind of match up to each other because I wasn't worried so much about the backs compared to the fronts with the designs. But what kind of bugs me is that the back corner here does not match the front corner here. And it's like, in theory they should, but they don't. And that would kind of bother me. And I mean, and again, the designs, some of the designs maybe aren't quite centered, or this one was kind of an angular design on a square. So I think there are parts that show that I had to compensate for t-shirts, but I don't think there's anything so glaring that's going to overwhelm the sentiment of it. And it was kind of strange going through this process. Doing it and trying to get everything straight and correct, I think, was what kept me focused and kept me going. But it was very bizarre making a memorial quilt. It didn't really kind of help any kind of stages of grieving, you know, for everything of 2020. It felt kind of strange. And then I got kind of angry, especially when I was doing the little eagles sleeves turned baby sweatpants. You know, I was angry because I thought he should be here. I shouldn't be making something like this. But I'm glad that you know, I know that the widow will really appreciate it. And Mom to be asked me, so I did it. I don't know if it's, you know, anything super special, but I've seen things like this online where folks have made like different kind of memory animal, stuffed animals or things. I told mom to be when some of the baby clothes get too small, just to give them back to me, and I guess I'll whip up, make some memory bear or something out of it. I have no idea how to do that, but um, I'm pleased with how it turned out for its purpose. And I mean, I think this because it's so Eagles dominated. I did the I tried to alternate the three black shirts, black and black. It's because it's so Eagles oriented. I think it may just be something even just for a nice fall throw when things get a little maybe chilly and solemn. So that's why you're not seeing this till after Christmas, because this will be a nice Christmas gift. A little teary eyed, but that's okay.